Wrestling with Attitude.
Hey, yo. Oh, you didn't know?
What?
Are you ready?
What?
No! I said, are you ready?
Woo! And leading this group of misfits is JP, the Melting Pot.
AKA 6-month champ, baby.
If I can be serious for a minute, without being interrupted.
And the savior of wrestling and the original people, the Summit.
You know, it was so nice it had to come twice.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
The WWE had Gilbert. Wrestling with Attitude has Lil Steven.
Finally.
Who in the blue hell are you? Yeah!
And the show-off of Wrestling with Attitude, Mike.
My time to shine.
You can't see me, my time is now.
All right. Welcome to Wrestling with Attitude on Spreaker, on iTunes, and on Stitcher Radio. Woo! Joining me today is the Melting Pot himself.
Yes.
JP making that rare appearance.
Is that our special guest today?
You know what it is? You know what I figured out?
What?
I'm working a Brock Lesnar contract to come back for pay-per-views and big matches only.
That is, yeah.
He's for hire.
I have now become the Brock Lesnar of Wrestling with Attitude.
Wow. Well, at least we know that.
You know, a couple of guys have had that contract before.
Well, now we just need you to, send like a Paul Heyman person in like every week so he can just speak for you, and then just show up like once a month.
Okay, I will have to look at that.
And then, unfortunately, we have Lil Steven
Yeah.
to the left. And missing this week is the one and only Mike.
The face of the company.
Yeah.
I mean, a big event, he takes time off. What's the deal?
You know what? It's typical people. People who are the face only want to do what they want to do. Look at Randy Orton. I mean, they fit one. They're like two peas in a pie with each other, man.
He's probably hanging out with Randy Orton right now.
Hang out, Randy Orton?
Yeah. What? Like
That'd
you
be
wouldn't?
interesting. That would be interesting. Where's Mickey James? Anyway.
True.
True?
Well, yeah.
Too soon? No.
No, never
never
too
too
soon.
soon.
Yeah.
I was fixing to say.
All right. Well, this week, we're going to do a 1-hour show this week. We're going to go over WWE Countdown, our sound off segment, and we're going to do picks for Night of Champions is this Sunday.
Night of Champions.
And, of course, the champion's picking last.
Yeah.
Lil Steven is first.
Yeah.
And we'll have Mike's picks go second. And then JP will go third. No, JP is second. And Mike will go third. So.
All right.
We will get to that. Before we go too much farther. Anyway, our sound off section this week is most imposing big man. Just let me define that a little bit. Most imposing big man can be your scariest, the ones that just you don't want to mess with. Yeah. I guess you would say. I mean, to me, that's what it would be.
Now I got a question. Is this is this all of wrestling though, not just WWE, correct?
All of wrestling.
Sound off, let 'em know how you feel. If the anger inside is real, sound off.
All right, and we're going to share our top 10. We had somebody tweet us, of course, their top 10 list, and we had a poll. Before we go into the top 10 countdown, we'll go over our poll. On our website, WrestlingAttitude.com, where you can not only vote, you can also listen to previous shows. You can check out Scars and Stripes wrestling videos and everything else in between. This, like I said, top 10 opposing big man. I made a poll of Andre the Giant, Big Show, Undertaker, King Kong Bundy, Earthquake, Bam Bam, no particular order. Psycho Sid, Kevin Nash, Vader, Yokozuna, Mark Henry, Kane, Big Daddy V, The Great Khali, Giant Gonzalez, Haystacks Calhoun, Kamala, and Big John Studd. That's why I put on our website.
You put the great Khali on that.
Well, I mean, he's a big man. I put Giant Gonzalez on there, too.
That's about all I can say for him. He's a big guy.
Hey,
He's not scary.
he was this week. He watched the door. No, I'm just kidding. But I put the Giant Gonzalez up there, and trust me, yeah, imposing, yes, terrible wrestler.
Yes.
But anyway, we'll talk about that later. But we had, it looked like we had 2 votes for Andre the Giant and 1 for Big Van Vader.
Yeah, we got some
Somebody
Vader
voted for
fans.
Vader. Thank you, Bryce. I'm assuming that's him.
Classic, so not a WWE guy. It's really funny when you talk about big men because you can defy big men in wrestling by so much.
Yeah.
Are you talking about agile? Are you talking about, I guess scariest or meanest, most imposing? Or are you talking about just a guy who could almost work with anybody? And that's where I think the big men or big man discussion in WWE, it gets kind of shadowed because big doesn't always mean that you stand out or that you overimpose your will on everyone. Because let's be honest, Undertaker is tall, but he's not really a big dude. Honestly, John Cena and Triple H are both bigger than him, technically. Bigger by mass. They're bigger. Undertaker's just tall.
Yeah, we're talking about size and,
No. But again, that's what I say. It depends on what your case of a big man is. Because if your case is a big man who could dominate anybody that he wanted to in probably any era of wrestling, the list begins and ends with one person and one person only.
Yeah.
And that's Andre the Giant. And that's anybody. Because if Andre would ever put his hands on anybody, I don't care if it's Taker, Kane, who, trust me, you weren't going to get away.
You're right.
I would say that it's so hard depending on what you want to do with it.
Well, the thing I like about it is, especially with WWE, is probably the best place for big men because, they Vince likes to utilize a lot of the talent are, like Mark Henry, Undertaker, they're all pretty big. And he puts them, I feel he puts them in the right category sometimes. Sometimes, he doesn't know where to use them. But there's been a lot of successful big men in the WWE, and there's been a lot of non-successful big men in the WWE.
Well, it's been all throughout wrestling. We'll talk about that. Let's get into the top 10 countdown. WWE had their countdown, and we'll talk about it. Number 10 was the Earthquake.
Yep.
No doubt, he should be top 10. He was one of the first big guys that I saw that could move.
Yeah.
This guy could move. I mean, not the way the Giant did, the Big Show did when he first started.
Right.
But he can move.
It's like Dusty Rhodes said, because he's very agile. He doesn't look like a wrestler at all, but he's very agile for his weight.
He was kind of like Yokozuna type.
Yeah.
He can move like Yoko. Number 9, King Kong Bundy. This guy was menacing.
Yeah.
You want to talk about imposing. He was imposing.
And you got to give a lot of props. He was another guy who could work with Andre, Big John Studd, but then go wrestle Hogan. Go wrestle Big Boss Man. So he was kind of a guy who could, again, he could work with different people depending on who you needed him to.
You don't think Bobby the Brain Heenan had any, he had a lot of success to do with his career, right?
What? Bobby the Brain?
Yeah.
You mean had a lot to do with King Kong Bundy?
Yeah, I feel like...
Okay, if you don't say that, you can say that for anybody he managed.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember who he managed.
Well, not only that, but you can say that for Taker, too, having Paul Bearer. Remember, Taker didn't really talk for many, many years. Well, the first 2 or 3 or 4 years he was there, he didn't really talk. He would talk every now and then, but he wasn't that great. Not what he turned into later.
You could do the same thing with J.J. Dillon or... Jimmy Hart.
You know what? I'll put it this way. Did Bobby the Brain Heenan add to his character? Yes, because that's what a good manager is. So I could see Steven's point that, it helped him out a lot, not having to talk so much or having somebody there to help bring heat. See, that was a big thing back in the day.
You got to remember back then in that day, too, the business was around managers, really.
Right,
It was managers.
A lot of times your manager made or break you to a lot of
Exactly.
people.
Just saying, like, he didn't really talk much, right?
Well, he didn't need to, though.
Yeah.
Right. To me, a big man should not have to speak.
Yeah.
Really, especially a guy like King Kong Bundy.
I mean, if you go back
you just
to-
want to see him show up.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay.
We'll talk about a supposable big man right now who talks too much sometimes on Raw. We all know who I'm talking about, and when he keeps it short and sweet, he's far better.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yep.
Well, it's okay. Relax. Get the confusion out of your face. We'll talk about it in a minute. Next, we had number 8. You talk about somebody that talked a little. He talked when he did but he was a good talker. Bam Bam Bigelow.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Bam
God,
Bam
yeah.
Bigelow was a
Oh,
good
God.
talker, man, and he could move. And one of the biggest matches ever at WrestleMania against Lawrence Taylor.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. But,
Do
I
what?
mean, when you talk about Bam Bam Bigelow, you talk about this guy that, when I think of Bam Bam Bigelow, I don't think of size he wasn't very tall. He was just more massive, in my opinion.
But that's a big man.
Yeah,
You
no,
know.
but he was agile for a big man.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you, too, it's well known that JP is not so much of an ECW fan. That's fine. I give him credit. I give him credit for a little bit, but not a lot. But I will tell you, him and Taz, I think it was a December to Dismember when they go through the ring. Bam Bam was another guy who could move with anybody.
Yep.
I mean, look, he went from LT to Taz. He could go to Undertaker. Again, just one of those guys who could. I don't want to say he could get in where he fit in, but he knew the business and he knew how to move and he knew how to work with people, and there's something to be said for that.
And he was in one of the best factions ever. Oh, really?
Enlighten us.
Go ahead. You got the insight.
We're asking
Josh Matthews told you something. Go
the
ahead.
Jersey,
Jersey Triad?
Yeah, the Jersey Triad.
Yeah, well, him and
it was the
DDP.
best faction ever.
Him, DDP, and Canyon.
You know what's sad?
I love that the
You know what's
crickets
sad?
started.
We
right
tried to throw the bone to him, and he's like the dog who just looks at the bone like, huh?
Is it there?
No, I go. I don't want that bone.
right.
You get that bone out of my face.
Moving on to the next one. The person, we go from one big man that could talk to one they should have never put a mic in his hand.
Oh.
Psycho Sid.
Hey,
Number
I
7.
am the ruler of the world.
I disagree.
What?
I disagree.
What?
I love Sid on a mic because you
Did you understand the lingo?
No, because you knew, guess what? I'm fixing to laugh, and it's going to be awesome.
I'll give you that. It was funny, but
and that's why I say, I understand what you're saying about Sid, but just talk about a guy who just didn't get it, man. Just didn't get it in front of a mic.
No.
But now I will say this. You brought up who I wouldn't want to meet.
he's one of them.
Yeah.
There is no way I would want to walk down the street at night and look behind me and there's Psycho Sid staring there. I'm just going to go ahead and put it out. There's no way. Looking at you with that face,
To me, he's one of the most, and people will hate me for this, overrated because he got hurt. I know, one of the worst injuries ever in wrestling.
He had oh God, what was it? What was it he did? I'm trying to remember. I know. I can't even remember what it was.
It was his elbow, if I wasn't mistaken.
Oh, yeah.
But one of the worst injuries ever you will see in any sport. But the reason I say he's overrated because he never reached that potential.
Yeah.
Of how great he should have been.
Well, he main evented.
Hold on. When he was going to fight Hogan as Sid Justice, he was supposed to be the heir to Hogan at the time.
Oh, really?
And they just, I don't know what happened. He went to WCW, EC, different places. I loved Psycho Sid. I did.
Oh, no. The injury you're talking about was when he broke his leg in a match.